listeners. I'm Nicholas Maka, and I am joined by Claudia Silver and Camilla May. Today, we will be presenting our findings on the effect of CBD and wind mesylate on anxiety in mice. We have all probably heard of THC, which is the main psychoactive component of cannabis, and CBD, which is the major non-psychoactive component of cannabis. As the distribution of these compounds as medicine has become more popular, we were curious to see whether CBD and wind, a molecule that mimics THC, would decrease obsessive-compulsive and anxiety-like behaviors. We hypothesized that CBD would decrease anxiety and obsessive-compulsive behavior, and wind would increase these behaviors. To test our hypothesis, we ran a variety of anxiety tests on the mice. We injected the mice with 10 milligrams per kilogram body weight of CBD, 1 milligram per kilogram body weight of wind, or a control solution 30 minutes before each anxiety test. We injected the mice intraperitoneally into the membrane lining the abdomen. We then ran 3 different tests for anxiety and compulsive behavior, in which we'll examine next.
When mice have obsessive-compulsive behavior and anxiety, they like to bury marbles as shown in the marble burying test. CBD treatment caused the mice to bury less marbles if administered acutely, but when administered chronically, there is no effect. When mice have anxiety, they like to spend time in the dark rather than the light. Our light-dark box test measured time in light and dark and showed that mice with higher anxiety, called our knockout mice, and our wild-type mice both naturally preferred the dark. When we gave them CBD, the wild-type mice spent less time in the dark and more in the light, but the knockout mice with higher anxiety did not change their behavior. When mice are extremely anxious, they like to hide in closed arms over open arms when elevated. When mice were given CBD acutely, they increased the time in secure compartments, but when chronically given CBD, they decreased their time in secure compartments. Lastly, mice treated with a THC-like drug called wind had no effect on anxiety or compulsive behaviors at all.
Our results show that short-term treatment of CBD decreased obsessive-compulsive behavior in our normal mice, while long-term treatment had no effect. Short-term and long-term treatment of CBD in our normal mice decreased normal levels of anxiety. Short-term treatment of CBD increased extreme anxiety, while long-term treatment decreased it. Overall, CBD had no significant effect on anxiety and obsessive-compulsive behavior in our inherently anxious mice. When our THC-like drug had no significant effect on anxiety or obsessive-compulsive behavior in our mice. In the future, we wish to test higher doses of CBD and wind, separate the data by sex, and test different routes of delivery, such as oral and intranasal. We'd like to thank MMJ for funding this research, FSU for funding this presentation. We'd like to thank everyone that has watched this presentation and we invite you to ask any questions that you may have.